All right. What I've been doing is talking about my lathe models, or models in general. I mentioned that I started with Barbie dolls like this, articulating Barbie dolls, and graduated to the serial killer version, where you chop them up into little pieces like this and insert wires through the hips, through the torso, into the shoulders, between the parts of the arm and the hand, and this way you get much more flexible model. Okay, this is capable of going into some very nice poses that a regular Barbie doll just can't do. Very graceful. The only problem with it, well, two problems with it. One is you're stuck with the basic shape, which you may not want for what you're drawing. Not everyone looks like this. And the other thing is the detail that's distracting. So I should also mention that I got my Art S. Buck models too, which have some advantages over regular dolls. They're not as good as the ones that you cut up, and those, the ones you cut up, are not nearly as good as the ones that you make. This was the first one I made. I made it according to directions in George Bridgman's book on figure drawing, and what I liked about it was the simplicity of the lines. You know, if you look at the lines, let's say the lines of the legs here, it's just a wire. So when you draw, this was just the wire that I saw over here, right? When you draw that, then you fill it in from imagination. You're not distracted by a lot of detail that you don't need. You've got something to put down as a landmark, and then you can let your own imagination take over and fill it in. What I didn't consider about this model, doing it according to Bridgman's instructions, is that the motion of the shoulders and of the arms is greatly restricted. It's like having a clavicle that's in a cast, right? Having your clavicles fixed. So it's sort of like a little robot. That's all it does, up and down like that. You can move the arms out, but the pivot point for the shoulders never changes. So I improved on that by cutting out a notch in front. Let's see if we can see that any better. See what I did? I just notched the front, put the wire across, and locked it into place in the middle with a screw. So now both clavicles articulate, which means when the arms raise, the shoulders go up the way they're supposed to in a natural position. When the arms reach out, the shoulders extend forward, not just the arm, but the shoulder too. It extends along the line of the clavicle, which, according to Hogarth, the clavicle is really part of the arm. That's where the arm starts. It doesn't start out here at the shoulder. It starts right here in the center of the chest, where the clavicles are anchored to the breastbone. That's the beginning of the arm. And the end is the tip of the fingers. That's one way to think about it. And when you do think about it, you get some nice gesture. Okay. And like what I said before, the main point has to do with non-essential detail. The first, when I did this first demonstration, what I did is I showed drawing the skeleton. Well, here's where I drew the skeleton. This was just the wires, right? I drew a line here, that was the wire going down this way. And these were wires. And then I just drew around them. I filled in around them very methodically, simply. Same thing here, except instead of using the wire as, let's say, the bone, I thought this was such an elegant shape, this shape of the leg, that I just drew that shape over here for the woman's leg, the hip and leg. And after I did that, I just decided where the other side of that would be. So this was, I knew from the beginning this was the contour, not the core. Here, I used the wire as the core, like a bone, and put the shapes around it, like the muscles. What is it that Glenn Vilppu says? No rules, just tools. There are like so many different ways to skin a cat. And in art, you know, there's so many different ways of doing things. All right, so grown man playing with dolls.